Welcome, governors. Hey, this is Adashi here, and this is part one in the video series on troop types. And in this series, we're going to break apart all the individual troop types. We're going to get into the talents. We're going to get into the commanders. We'll get into the mechanics under the hood and really see how these troops work, really see the intent by Lilith, and then we'll look into the future of what you can expect from future commanders or future changes in the game that will affect this. But before we do that, let's really talk about whether you should choose a troop type or not. And I've heard a lot of people say that you should diversify, that you should pick commanders so that you have good legendary commanders for infantry, cavalry, and archers. So that way, if you're putting 5 troops on the field, you can have the best commanders available and maximize all of your troops because you're going to have those troops anyways passively, right? And that makes a ton of sense. Or does it? If you have 1.5 million T5 troops that you can put on the field, and if you have 5 sets of gear, and if you have 10 legendary commanders that are expertise, that sort of makes sense. Now, I would argue that most players don't have that. If you're a low spender in this game or a free to play player in this game, you don't have that. And if you do have that, you can't sustain it through an entire KVK. So instead, what do? You fill rallies, you fill garrisons, and you fight in the open field with maybe 2 or 3 marches. So you're really talking about 500 to 750,000 troops on the field. You're really talking about 4 to 6 commanders on the field. And the rest don't really matter. You know who I use to fill Ramsey's rallies with? Herman and El Cid. Why? They move real fast. Who do I use to fill Attila rallies? Belisarius, because he runs away real fast after the rally crushes them. Right? That's what I do with those troops. And as an infantry main, the only thing I care about is on the open field or if I'm leading the rally or I'm leading the garrison. And the other commanders are mostly irrelevant. So by choosing a troop type and really hammering down, really getting good with them, really getting into the details of how it works, and getting into the specifics of how to maximize those commanders, then you can do a lot of work, even as a free to play, even as a low spender. So now that we're kind of beyond that, let's talk about why you should choose a troop type. And first, we're going to talk about civilization. So, as an infantry main, I choose Rome. And Rome gives me this nice passive, well, movement speed is nice too, but it gives me this nice passive of 5% increased defense to all infantry. And in addition, I get the Legionnaire unit, which counts for both T4 and T5. Now, in this video, I don't want to get into exactly what that means, but to suffice it to say, my infantry T4 and T5 are way better than my other troops that would normally be equivalent because they're that Legionnaire special unit. Now, the next thing we need to look at is city theme, and I'm sure everyone already knows this, but you can pick a city theme that'll give you this passive bonus. So mine is the gingerbread house, mostly for this cool little tree here, right? And also because it gives me 5% increased infantry health at the cost of archer attack, which archer attack I don't care about because I don't use archers. So I'm getting 5% increased defense, 5% increased health, and my base stats, because they're the special unit, those base stats are higher. My infantry are already doing work. Now the next thing we're going to look at is commanders. Now obviously infantry commanders are going to be good at leading infantry, right? Everyone knows that. But what you really need to focus on is synergies between those commanders. And when I picked up my first commander, which was Charles, and I expertised him, he was great, paired him with Sun Ce, that worked out well. When I picked up my second commander of Richard, paired him with Charles, and they went really well together. Split them apart if I wanted 2 marches, Sun Ce, Ulgi Richard, worked out great. Then I picked up Constantine. By the way, I already had Charles, so I had one of the best garrisons in the game. Next commander I picked up was Alex. Alex pairs awesome. He does great with Richard. That combo has done work for me in the open field in several KVKs. Picked up Guan Richard, Guan Alex, fantastic combinations. Now I have Harold. Alex Harold, Rex. Did Arc today? Some of those reports, they were disgusting. But my point isn't that you should pick up all these infantry commanders. My point is every time you pick up a commander, you should have synergies. You shouldn't have to pair that with the new commander also. you should already have synergies built in with the previous commanders you've expertised. This gives you shelf life. This makes it so every time you expertise a commander, you know that commander is going to have value for a long time. You're not going to expertise a Ramses and then never have another archer commander to pair them with because you get no shelf life there. You get no synergy. And maybe you can pair with a leadership commander or something, but it's not going to be as good. Although we'll talk about some leadership commanders in the future. But generally, you really want to focus to make sure you get that built in synergy. And the last reason that you need to choose a troop type is because of equipment. And let's look. The first set I had here is the blue set. Went for the windswept set. This has done really well for me. It's expertise infantry for almost the entire thing except the helm. So I can stick this on any infantry commander and it's doing work. This is really, really good. 6% increased defense, 4% march speed for that blue piece of gear. Any commander I get in the future that's infantry, I can stick it on them and I'm going to get that. That's fantastic. You diversify, that won't happen. If you pick up an archer commander, now you have to build an archer set. You're going to say, well, you want to build an epic set anyways. Yeah, you're right. I did. Now I have this epic set, and I'm going to expertise it infantry as well. So now when I stick two commanders on the open field, I have a blue set and I have an epic set ready to go. And if I get new infantry commanders, I'll just move it to them and it'll work. 6 months from now, 3 years from now, it doesn't matter. I am future proofed because every piece of gear I craft is going to be fantastic for every commander I ever use. When you put all this together, you can see that kind of built-in synergy, you can see that shelf life. Specifically, you can see how you maximize resources that you put into this game. Every gold head that went to one of my commanders is still being used by me. Every piece of material that I used to craft a piece of gear is still being used by me. And that's the advantage of choosing a troop type. So thanks for watching this video. If you liked it, please hit like below and share it with your alliance mates. It would really be a big favor for me. I'd really appreciate it. Also, the other parts in this series will hopefully be coming out pretty soon, in which we get into some of the pros and cons and specifics of why you should choose which troop type and what those troop types do. So if you want to see those as they come out, please hit the subscribe to the channel button. And thanks for watching this video. You guys have a good night.